A very important equation when dealing with lines is something called the slope-intercept form, and it is an equation of the form y equals mx plus b. This equation is very important for lines because once we have a linear equation solved for y, the coefficient of x and the constant term tell us some very important information about the graph of that line. Therefore, it's very important to be able to solve an equation for a specific variable. In this case, we'll solve these linear equations for the variable y, and then we'll identify what the values of m and b are. The first example is 2x plus y equals 6. To solve that equation for y, we will subtract 2x from each side to get y equals negative 2x plus 6. Now the equation is in that form, so the coefficient of x is this value of m, so it is negative 2. And the constant term is the value of b, which in this case is 6. Part B is x minus 3y equals 6. To solve this equation for y, we first subtract the x variable to get negative 3y equals negative x plus 6. Then we have to divide each term by negative 3. Here we get y equals, be careful here, a negative divided by negative is a positive, and then we have 1/3 x, and 6 divided by negative 3 is a negative 2. So when the coefficient of y is negative, make sure you keep that when you move the x term off, but then you have to divide by that negative value to get y by itself, because our goal is to get a coefficient of 1 on y. So then the value of m is the coefficient of x, which is 1/3, and the value of b is negative 2. Five x plus y equals 0. To write that so that it's solved for y, we just subtract 5x from each side. So that gives us negative 5x plus 0, which is understood to just be negative 5x. The value of m is this coefficient of x, which is negative 5, and b is a constant term, which is implied to be 0. The equation x plus 2 equals 0. Well, there is no variable y in that, so we actually cannot solve this equation for y. So that is, we cannot write it in that slope-intercept form. So we're not going to have a value of m or b in this example. The 6y plus 12 equals 0. We can solve that equation for y. We get 6y equals negative 12. Dividing by 6 gives us y equals negative 2. Now understand that is just a constant term. There's no x variable in this equation, so the value of b is negative 2. The value of m is understood to be 0 because this is really equivalent to y equals 0x minus 2. Now the last one is f of x equals negative x plus 5. Recall that f of x is nothing more than the variable y. This is already in the form y equals mx plus b. It is y equals negative x plus 5. The value of m is the coefficient of x, which is negative 1, and the value of b is 5. Again, this is a very important skill that you're going to need to be successful in the linear function section. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you.